Welcome back to Million Dollar Lightworker, where we talk about purpose, impact, money as an amplifier, and doing it in a way that still feels like you. So today's guest, she's one of those, the team brought her to the table and I said yes immediately moments. I haven't met her yet, so we're doing what we do. We're meeting in real time, FaceTime style, and letting the truth show up in the conversation. Her name is Ann Robbat, and from what I've been reading, she's about accelerating your purpose and helping people live a soul-driven life. Does that sound familiar? And I was like, okay, so we're basically cousins in the lightworker hood. So she describes herself as an energy healer, a coach, a channeler, and the creator of the Tolera Energy Mastery System. And I can't wait to find out what that's all about. And you know what I'm extra curious about? She created the Tolera Mastery School, a structured pathway, an actual system. That's what we teach in Million Dollar Lightworker. And I am so here for women naming what they do, teaching what they do, and building something that can outlive a single session, sound familiar, or even a single offer. Because listen, Lightworkers, you guys are powerful, and you're organized, and you're mystical and specific, and you're intuitive and methodical. And let me tell you something right now, darling. You're never too old and you're never too young to build the thing that your soul is pointing to. If you're 27, you can start. If you're 67, you can expand. And if you're 47 or anywhere in between and you're reinventing yourself, welcome to the party. All right, let me call her in now. Oh, and there she is. All right, Ann, hi, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. It's so good to be with you, Jorobi.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good to be with you too. And welcome to Million Dollar Lightworker FaceTime style. We are so happy you're here as well. And just for the people who are listening in our audience, Ann, can you give us the 20-second who you are and who you help straight from the heart?
Well, I have been an energy healer, an energy school teacher, a developer of a new way of working with energy, mindset, and spiritual connection to really help people advance their lives and to live into something that excites them every day.
I like to say, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it.
Exactly.
I love that.
I used to say work hard, play hard. And now I say work easily and play with a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I actually think that that is one of the benefits of age, is that you do learn that, things actually come more easily when you're not working so hard, I already feel like we're going to have a really juicy conversation because your whole world is about living a soul-driven life. And you even talk about accelerating purpose and abundance and happiness. Let's get into that.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Okay, so Ann, what are you working on right now that you are most excited about? Like the thing that's really lighting you up?
The thing that lights me up right now is I'm working on this manifestation program. And the interesting thing is when I work on manifestation with individuals, with my coaching clients, what I see a lot, it isn't about technique or process of how you manifest something. It's about our capacity to receive. And so when people say, I manifested it, I did all the steps in this program I was a part of for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it is, but nothing really changed. It wasn't that they were doing it wrong. It was that they had energy in the way or beliefs in the way of allowing them to receive what it is that they desired. And so for me, manifestation really is this ideal thing between soul alignment, like your soul has to agree, yes, this is really good for you, but also an energetic alignment. Like we have to be aware that our energy field is clear enough to receive what it is that we desire.
And
And then, of course, our beliefs have to be in line with that.
and it, like, it's such a strange thing when you think, when you say it out loud, right? That you have to
Yeah.
be willing to receive. Like, it seems easy enough, but I know a lot of people get stuck on that.
I'll give you an example of my own life. So when I was in my, I don't know, late 20s, I needed a new car, and I always loved Jaguars back then, like those big, beautiful, sleek Jaguars. But to me, people that own Jaguars were a lot older than who I was at that time, but also really wealthy. Like
Mm.
I didn't see anyone in our neighborhood at that time owning one. That was for the wealthy people. And so my husband was looking through want ads and he goes, "Oh my God, we could get you a Jaguar. For the amount of money we're going to pay for this new Toyota Camry, you can get this Jaguar. It's just a few years older." I literally froze
Ah.
and told him all the reasons that made no sense and went out the next day and bought the Toyota Camry. And years later, what I realized was I didn't have the ability to receive it in that moment because I had all these limiting beliefs around Jaguar. Like only the wealthy people had them, only middle-aged people had them. Young people didn't drive around in these cars, like unless they were their parents' car. It was crazy. And so here my husband's offering me it, and I'm saying no to it. And I wish I could say to you that was the only time that ever happened, but I can tell you 10 other stories or 20 other stories that happened to me around until I started to really do more and more of my own energy work and belief work and start seeing that I had all of these pre-programmed sayings like that my parents gave us, which they intended well, but it got in the way of experiencing real wealth.
Mm. Wow. And one of the things that I read, um, that, of course, you've given us a couple examples. This is a great segue. um, that there was a moment, like life looked good on paper, right? And still there
Mm,
was this emptiness that hit you, like, is this it? Can you take
yeah.
us into that moment?
Yeah, that was also in my late 20s, right around that Jaguar story, when I was working for a high-tech company and doing fabulous work. I got to travel around the world working with different cultures, which I really, really wanted to do. And I'd come home on the weekends and I was raking leaves. And as I was raking leaves, I thought, wow, I have everything that I was told I would want. I have a house, a great husband, a good job, and yet inside, I wasn't experiencing the happiness or joy that I thought would come with it. I felt a little bit empty, like there was nothing that really excited me. I was doing all the stuff, but there was no real excitement to it.
I have such a similar story, Marianne, and it could be something to do with like our generation. Because another thing that I read was something about what you were calling a gratitude problem. I think, how did you know? Do you remember what you wrote? It was about a knowing that it wasn't gratitude problems. It was a real soul calling. And I went through something so similar. I would love to have you talk about that.
Yeah, so, all of us come into this lifetime for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Our soul wants different experiences. And what happens is when we're outside of our soul alignment, like we've done some of the stuff that our soul wants, but it wants the next level of it, but we are still on a different trajectory. And then the soul starts sending you these like inklings to try to pull you off or pull you into what you're here really to do. And I was having such a good time at that time working and traveling and thinking that was what was going to fill me up, that I missed what was being called for. And
Mm.
what was being called for was this idea of getting into greater connection with myself first, and then bringing back gifts that I had when I was a child and shut down.
Mm.
And that was like using my intuition and really helping people move forward in this lifetime. That was what my soul was calling for. And bringing more of the spiritual elements, like awakening them within myself first, but then bringing that work out so others could awaken their own spiritual connections.
And you also spent years in the corporate world, right? And then you built a business around energy healing and coaching.
Yes. In fact, when I started energy healing, so I live on the East Coast. On the West Coast, there was a lot more going on, but on the East Coast, there was literally zero. I would mention the word energy, and people would say, "Oh, the electric company." Like nobody understood what. And it was before Reiki became more mainstream. So I was a closeted spiritual developer as I was in my corporate life. And so I would still work within corporate and do a lot of programs, as many different activities as I could find or that found me.
Mm.
Um, and that was how I did it side by side. And slowly people started to notice I was showing up differently. I was happier, I was lighter, I was more excited. I was still doing the exact same work. Everything on the outside looked the exact same, but they could feel a difference in me. So I was talking to them about finding my own purpose and my working with spiritual guides and getting insight and open up intuition. And one by one, all these people that I worked with in a corporate company started to say, "Can I do that work with you on the side?" So I had
Ah.
these like two businesses going off. And then when I turned 40, I had triplets. And so I stepped away from the corporate world for a couple of years. And when I stepped away, all of these people that had worked with started ringing up saying, "Can we now come to you again? Like, can I come and work on my next, edition of myself?" And so that's how it started. It was almost like an accidental business. I was just taking a few years off to be with my kids, and then I had an amazing experience. And because I had more time to do my own spiritual work, I was learning and growing a little bit differently and attracting people. I didn't have I never marketed. I didn't have a shingle. In fact, when people came to me, they would say, "So what is it you do?" And I'd say, "I don't know. I just connecting with the energy and I hear what needs to be done." And that's
Wow.
literally how I started, because I didn't really have a lot of language for the work
Yeah.
until I did it for several years. But after a couple of years, I got so busy, I had to move out of my house, and then actually started to hire people to work with then. And then I started building healing schools, and I'm on my fifth version of a healing school right now, and that's how Tolera was born. Actually, my son helped me name it, because Tolera is from a Latin word, and I wanted something different, because this work, when you really get involved in your alignment to your spirituality and releasing limiting beliefs and really clearing your energy field, everything becomes possible. So Tolera represented the destruction of the old and the rebirth of the new. And that's why I named my healing school that.
Yeah, I read that online, and I loved that for a number of different reasons that I'll talk to you about in a minute that I love about your work. Well, actually, this is a good segue into it. Is what I call the named method, and this is kind of an obsession of mine. in terms of marketing and when I'm working with my coaching clients is you created a system in a school, and I know that women, especially spiritual entrepreneurs, owning what they do and naming it can be difficult. What do you believe? And when I say difficult, it's like we see all kinds of things societally that are named, like the Silva method, things like that. And yet, and there's so many women out there that have these beautiful frameworks, but they still, I won't say hide behind, but they still announce themselves as like a Reiki healer. What do you believe? What do you believe about building a method that's uniquely yours?
I think that it's important because when you build your own method, what you're doing is drawing on all your experiences. And one of the powerful, powerful positions women are in, we have so many diverse experiences. Some of us are mothers, some of us work in corporate environments, some of us work in our own businesses. We're daughters and friends, and we have sisters or brothers, and we are much more sensitive, I think, than males in this world. And so we get affected by the energy more. And by being clear on who you are and what you really want in this world allows the universe to really feed it to you. So owning your own method and speaking into that and bringing that forward sometimes could feel a little bit intimidating, but it's actually really liberating. Because when we acknowledge and see who we are for ourselves, it's super, super powerful.
I love that. I mean, I've had people say, well, they think it's too bold to like name their process. And it's what actually makes it uniquely theirs. When they put that label on it and just, like you said, own the fact that they pulled that together. So I was
and my goal for a long time was to bring more and more energy healers into the world. Like I couldn't understand how people doing energy work were not making a lot of money. I really couldn't understand that. I would meet these really incredible healers, but they were struggling. And once they would go through my school where we would break down a lot of the beliefs around money, around putting yourself out there in the world, around seeing your power, and around shifting other people's perspective, then they could go off and make their own money and do well at it. So for me, a lot of the naming was also so that I could teach others how to do this process so they could prosper.
Right. Naming it makes it scalable.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
Marianne, what actually happens inside Tolera Mastery School? If someone's like, okay, but what do I do? Walk us through that.
So in Tolera, there's 4 levels of learning. So every 2 weeks we have a class, and I will teach something. The 4 levels have to do with soul, like how to connect into your own soul, how to connect into your spiritual guides, how to bring that wisdom into your life, how to use them as your allies to open up and create things in your life. Then we talk about the energetics of our field. Do you know every single thought we have, there's an energy attached to it and it sits in our field. That's powerful for the powerful thoughts we have, but how many times are we down or we're not thinking the most positive thoughts? Those thoughts also sit in our field. So when we go and we try to manifest something, what happens is the universe goes, oh, that's what that person wants. And it tries to feed the energy of whatever that is towards the person. But there's so many different blocks in our field that it takes a while for whatever it is to come to us. And at that time, we are impatient and we've moved on to something else. So by the time it shows up, we've missed it. And so one of the things is really taking care of our energetic field and clearing it out of the old or the limiting beliefs or the beliefs that we can only make so much money in this world, or like if when I started work, making 100,000 was a big deal. And when I made 100,000, it was like, wow, okay. And I didn't have the next vision in my head. I didn't have another goal, thinking like, oh, I guess I made it. All right. And what we forget is that we keep growing and expanding. And every time we grow and expand, the universe will grow and expand and give to us the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And if we're not prepared, we're going to miss it.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why it's so powerful to keep learning and continue to face any fears that you have, or because we are here to create, and as long as we are stepping into that, we will continue creating. Why not create something that you really want and that you love?
Right. Well, we co-create our lives every single day. And so when we have those really bad days or we're not getting what it is that we want, we're co-creating that because in our energy field, our thoughts won't allow us to have what it is that we want.
Right. So you teach the 4 levels of experience, right?
The 4 levels, the spiritual, the energetics, the physical, and then the emotional. So just like our energetic field that resides outside of us, also in our body, the energy resides. So every thought, every emotion, every unsaid word, like words that you sort of swallowed or stuffed down, that energy of those words live within our body. And what I find is like people get physically ill or have tons of joint pain or different kinds of pain in their bodies that their doctors can't figure out. They've gone to every specialist and nobody knows what it is. And I'll tell you what it is right now. It's usually that the body can't hold any more of the stuffed energy. And so it is like pressing against us. And once you start releasing the energy within the body, then you'll start to feel a lot better. So we also work on the physical and we tie that to the emotional. So if you've had trauma or upsets in your life, or what I like to say is if you're stuck, there's no reason to be stuck. It means that there's either energy in the way or you have a limiting belief that just needs to be cleared out so that you can manifest what you want. Every one of us is put here to create a life, and each of us has a different purpose, but that life is what's so important. And so if we're not creating the life we want, it's because we're misaligned or we just have blocked energy.
Yeah, and a lot of times I see people just kind of living by default.
Yes.
I know one of the things that I read was you said that, of course, energy principles are universal, but when you master them, it can feel like magic, right?
Yes.
And it's ease. Can you unpack that? Like, what's the most common misconception people have about energy work?
Well, let me go back to a statement I made earlier. My parents used to say, work really hard to make money.
Right.
So there were 6 kids in my family. All of us became workaholics, right? Because we wanted to make money. And one day, as I'm journaling and connecting with my guide said, it doesn't have to be so hard. Work could be fun. You could work less and still make money. And I'm like, what? Like that just sort of blew my mind away. It changed the construct of how I looked at what I was doing in the world. And so these are the things that we're not even conscious a lot of times of, these statements or beliefs that were said to us, but yet we're operating from them. So when you take out this idea that, oh, I have to work really hard. Well, what if I worked easy and still made a lot of money? That's where the magic is. When you start to change to the, oh, I can have that too. And I can have that too. Like right before us getting on this call, I was on a call with this man that I coach, and he's like, what part of the world are you in now? Because I'm always traveling. Like I'm a avid skier. 2 weeks ago, I was in Zermatt. Next week, I go to Cortina in Italy. I love to travel. I love to be a part of the world. And by the way, I still work and make more money than I've ever made, because that's my belief now. Like I can make millions and have a really fun life along the way.
I agree. I like to call it plurk. Play plus work equals plurk.
I love that. I love that.
So let's see. You also talk about, let's go back to the limiting beliefs. Busting limiting beliefs, releasing past experiences so that your life can expand. What's a belief you see all the time that blocks purpose?
I'm not worthy enough. I don't deserve. All the people I see usually have a cap. And that cap is somewhere between they can have what they want and maybe a little bit more. And that's like, that's where it becomes really hard, because they're not even clear of what's getting in their way. They're only clear on the fact that they made it to their what they can allow themselves to receive. They want something more and they can't move forward. Like they're just stuck. They're stopped. And that usually has to do with our worthiness of deserving. So that's one. The second one I want to say is this, and this only happens, by the way, with women. I've never heard a man in all these years say this. It's like, I'll feel guilty if I get too much.
Wow.
Like if I take, then somebody else isn't going to get something. And I always remind my clients, like, the universe is so abundant. There's abundance everywhere. There's no cap to the flow. We're putting our own cap on it and then calling ourselves greedy. Those words don't even exist. That energy doesn't even exist. We label ourselves that. So I would say get rid of the guilt, go for more and more and more. Live your life from this place of, oh, I can have as much as I want.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. What about, Marianne, people who are entering a new chapter in their life? You know, they're empty nesters, or they're going through a career change, maybe a divorce, or even major health things, and they feel like it's just too late.
Yeah. You know, I love when people are in transitions, because they're being pushed to change. The one thing that's constant is adults don't like change. And so when we are in those moments where we can't control it, whether it's a divorce or our kids are gone, and like suddenly this career I loved, they downsized me. I'm like, what do you do then? It's the same thing. It's, you get clarity, you find your purpose, you find that desire again of what you want to contribute, who you want to be. You know, we spend a lot of time doing, and we don't look at our beingness. Like, what's the value? Who do we want to be? How do we want to bring that into the world? And how can we impact others with that? So I find those are the juiciest times, because people are up against it. Like you can't go back. You can't ignore it anymore because change has come for you. So during times of transition, I feel like you have the biggest opportunity to make the leaps into what you truly desire.
Yeah, and one of my little sermons is you're never too old and you're never too young to come back to yourself. I mean, you always have that opportunity.
I work with a client who's 78 years old and she's designing her third business. Third, and they're successful. And she's so excited. She has more energy than you can imagine. And it's because she's always followed her desires. And it's so great. You know, at 78, most people are retired or playing golf or just, like, oh, like you said, too old to do this.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I mean, just the word retired, tired over and over and over again. Who wants to do that?
Yeah,
That doesn't make sense. I actually climbed Mount Sinai with a woman who was 82. She was,
I love that.
she was
Yeah,
like, she was passing everybody else up. She was so fit.
yeah.
Marianne, you openly use the word channeler, and I do too. I work with channelers. I love that you don't shrink it. How do you explain your channeling work in a grounded way to someone who's curious but just a little bit cautious?
So that's a great question because for a while I did shy away from that and
Mm.
I would only use it with certain people that I knew would be open to it. And then after a while I thought, well, how could the rest of the world become open to it if we're all shying away from it? So what I usually say is if you come across as grounded and um, I'm going to put this in quotes, normal, like you're grounded in reality today, it doesn't matter what you do, people will believe what you're doing.
Mm.
I think channeling sometimes gets a bad rep because when you channel, you kind of leave and the energy comes through you. But a lot of people that, may say they channel, they're a little, you get a little flighty or light-headed, and so you're not grounded in your well-being.
Mm.
So the first thing I do is I make sure when I train people how to channel that they're all grounded in their sense of self first. That's so important. And then it's just information coming through. It just comes through, and you give yourself your body up so the spirit gets to use your body in the way that they want to.
Yeah,
So I don't know if that's a good way of going about it or not, but that's how I do it.
I think
Yeah.
that's beautiful.
How do you talk about it? I'm
Um,
curious.
well, I have a client that I've worked with for the last 15 years, and she struggled with it too. It was interesting because when her mother was still alive, she really couldn't come out of she would say, I can't come out of the spiritual closet. Once her mother passed away, then she was able to be more open about it. But it was interesting, Marianne, because she actually got the way she would label it from her mom. And because inevitably, we were traveling all over the world together, and we would, or she would sit next to on the airplane the Baptist preacher, the Baptist minister, and he would say, what do you do for work? And she learned to say, and again, she got this from her mom who didn't really understand what she did, I bring messages for people's soul. And
Yeah.
that seemed to be something that pretty much everybody could accept. And the other thing that I would hear her say is, I teach people how to be happy.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even really go into like where it came from,
Yeah.
until she had had a little bit more trust built up in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I
so
love that. That's a great way to go. And I think the importance is that the messages get out there. It's not whether did you channel, did you look like a channeler, did you act like a it's just that these messages are so powerful and they're so divine.
Mm-hmm.
And the energy healing that they channel through me is so powerful. Groups of people get healed really quickly. And it's really because of the frequency that you're able to channel through you to others that can heal. So I think it's just important to do the work. Like I think I'm one of those bread and butter channels. It's like I don't add, I don't wear long flowy gowns on, and jeans and stuff. But I think that's important too, because people think, oh, okay, I get it. Like, I had this guy say to me once, oh, it's like when in the Catholic Church we speak tongues when we're channeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I didn't know really what that meant, but if that's what he wanted to say, that was perfect. And he got a lot out of the weekend.
Well, and I think that, I mean, I know we're all channelers, right? We're all
Yeah.
channeling, and it may look different for different people. People channel music, they channel art, they channel writing. I often channel business strategies. They come from nowhere, or they come from the channel. But I think that we think, or a lot of people think it's supposed to look one way, when the
Yeah.
truth is we're all doing it all the time. It's just some people have, it's like a muscle, and some people have really developed that muscle and are able to go deep on call, on demand with it.
You are absolutely 100% right. That's what I love that, because when people want to open up their intuition, I'm like, it's already open. It's just being lazy. Like you haven't used it in a while. So all you're doing is reconnecting to it. And I think it's really true. Like we all come in, like the kids coming in now, the babies coming in now. Oh my God, they're so open. Like young kids and young teenagers. I'm working with a lot of my clients' kids because they're open. They feel, they see, they sense, but they don't have the framework to hold it. And that
Mm-hmm.
was my story when I was younger. I did all of that stuff, but I didn't know what was happening. But the more we just normalize it, the more these kids are going to stay connected to their own inner wisdom and guidance, which is, I think, really powerful.
Yeah, I think that I agree. I think that's where the planet is headed. Eventually, we'll all just know that that's what we do, whatever we call it.
Yeah,
Okay, Marianne, you ready for the microwave moment?
I guess I am.
Okay, it's gonna be fast and playful, and it's the first thing that comes up for you. No overthinking. It's intuition, right?
Yep,
Okay, so when I say integrity, you say,
love,
I love that. When I say money, you say,
more,
when I say impact, you say,
abundance.
oh, nice. And okay, when I say soul driven, you say,
I say freedom.
ah. And then,
When we're aligned to our souls, it's life is free.
yeah, I love that. Actually, I love all these. And then the final one, Marianne, is when you say my method, or when I say my method, quote unquote, you say,
Tolera.
all right, that was great. That was great. And that pretty much tells me everything, which is how we like it. So, Marianne, I just want to thank you for bringing your light and your clarity and your systems brain to the Lightworker table. I love this blend of spiritual and grounded and actually actionable, because that's when I work with my coaching clients, the first thing I do is tell them how important it is to be grounded as well as spiritual, especially when it comes to business. Can you tell everybody where they can find you, your website, your podcast, the whole thing?
Well, I'm right now branded under my name, Million Robot. I have a website that will speak to my programs. I have a podcast. I think what you're going to be offering is this program that we started about 7 months ago called Next Level Manifestation.
Mm.
And why I called it Next Level was I wanted, so we incorporate Twilera into it. We incorporate working those 4 levels so that people can quickly and accelerate their ability to manifest. And one of the best things I did in that group was to create a group. What is it called? WhatsApp or
Mm.
something, because people are in it from all over the world. And every few days, people are posting their wins and what's happening. And it's like little kids giggling because life just has become so easy for them. And they're getting what they're desiring. And they almost can't believe how much things are shifting and changing, not only in their life, but also in their inner life, like that inner way of knowing that you're being held and you're connected and possibilities exist for all of us.
That is so beautiful. I know years ago when I was working hard, like you're talking about, and I didn't even know why I did this, but I got the easy button. Remember the easy button from, I think it was Staples?
Yes.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
got it and I put it
Staples, right?
put it on my desk, because
Yeah.
every time I got like tense and overwhelmed and my eyebrows were coming together and my shoulders were up high, I would just hit the easy button and it would relax me. So I love the fact that you said easy. There's also a song, I don't know if you've heard it. Do you know who Karen Drucker is? Are you familiar with her music?
I'm not, no.
Oh, I think you would enjoy it. Just Google it, Karen Drucker. But she sings a song called "Let It Be Easy," and it's just so great.
Yeah, I love that because I do think sometimes our minds overcomplicate things for us, and we can have a lot of ease in our lives.
Absolutely, and yes, our minds do overcomplicate things. Well, Marianne, I think we're at the top of our time now, and I've really enjoyed having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was a lot of fun, and you asked some great questions. And I love that you're in business and spirituality all at the same time. I think there just needs to be more and more of us out in the world, lighting the path.
Well, to actually use your own definition, right? I'm doing two things that I love. I love playing in the spiritual world, and I also love business. And I
Yeah.
love watching spiritual people like figure it out and just flourish in their business. I think the planet just needs that right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Marianne, and let's do this again.
I would love to.
All right. All right. Take care.
Bye
Bye-bye.
now.
Well, that was good. Good or good, right? I love when a light worker is both mystical and methodical. Like, yes, give me the soul and the structure. Here's what I want you to take from this. If you've been downplaying your work, and I see you out there calling yourself just a healer or just a channeler or just an intuitive, and you've got a real process, start owning it. Start naming it. Start teaching it. Start building the school or the framework or the pathway. And if you're in that season where you're building, especially if you feel more early stage, right? Or you want community, momentum, and support while you shape your offer, this is your nudge to come join us in the Conscious Creators Circle. CCC, we like to call it, is where we workshop ideas, we refine messages, and we build what you actually want to be known for without burning out and without shrinking. Emphasis on you don't have to do it alone. And if you're ready at the point where you're ready for the deeper build, the bigger container or the even bigger impact, then you already know Million Dollar Lightwork is the room for you. Either way, remember, you are never too old and you're never too young to accelerate your purpose. All right, go drink some water, take one brave step, and I'll see you next time.